more chatter than action as it relates to the state flag issue here at the state capitol today. And our sports director, Trey Mongrue, will have some more details on the ins and outs of this piece later in the newscast. But I can tell you that both the SEC commissioner and the NCAA Board of Governors issued statements that essentially said that if the current state flag continues to fly over Mississippi, it could have consequences of bans on championship games within the state. And that is sparking even more debate within the Capitol walls today.
More groups adding their voices to the call to take down the current flag. 3 News Side's Courtney Ann Jackson has this new information.
The Mississippi Baptist Convention has never taken a collective stand against the state flag until now.
We believe it is a gospel issue, and we want to stand up for what we perceive to be the leadership of God in this moment and in this matter.
In 2016, the Southern Baptist Convention overwhelmingly passed a resolution encouraging members to not publicly fly the Confederate battle flag. But Tuesday was the first time the Mississippi Baptist leaders have come together to denounce the Mississippi flag.
Somewhat out of all of our comfort zone to speak to this issue, but the time is now. To make a difference in the world that is called Mississippi, that will impact the entire nation as they watch what we're doing.
And if there's anything that is causing people to feel an offense to the preaching of the gospel, even if it be our state flag, then it is time for a change.
The Baptist building sits just a stone's throw from the state capitol, where members of the Legislative Black Caucus applauded the group and others for joining in on the call to take down the current flag.
It's time for us to rise above our history of racism and separatism to exemplify unity and equality.
The legislative session is winding down, but members say the work is being done.
Taking up something that takes 2/3 of the legislature, you count those votes and make sure you have that. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing at this time. But we're ready. We're letting the majority caucus do what they have to do to get the people they need, because they know this needs to be done.
Neither of the groups endorsed a replacement, but rather placed focus on taking down the current flag. Joined now by Speaker Philip Gunn, who 5 years ago called for this change to happen. You drafted this legislation. Tell me about what's going through your mind today. What went through your mind when it passed your chamber?
Well, it was very rewarding. Obviously, this has been a 5-year journey for me. It was actually 5 years ago this month, so it's kind of an anniversary of sorts. To see people finally embrace the realization, to recognize that this is for the betterment of our state. It's not to say that we reject our history. It's not to say that we deny the past. But at some point we recognize this is a step in the right direction.
With Courtney Ann Jackson, who was in the Mississippi House and Senate for the historic votes. Courtney Ann, what can you tell us tonight?
Maggie, I can tell you that there were more emotions within these Capitol walls than I've ever witnessed in my nearly decade of covering the Mississippi State Legislature. Quite honestly, more than you can probably even capture on video. But we do want to give you a glimpse at the process by which this happened and those final votes being cast. The House started the process of officially changing the state flag. That began in the Rules Committee. The bill says a 9-member commission will be created to design the new flag. The new design can't include the Confederate emblem and must include the phrase "In God We Trust." It would be voted on by the people in November. If they don't approve it, they'll try again with a new design.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
The change is one that many members say is necessary.
Hey, you can get your ticket for that train of unification for a greater good that we can all be behind.
And it passed overwhelmingly.
By a vote of 91 yeas and 23 nays, the bill passes. I want people to understand this change is coming from within our state. This is not the result of outside influences. The hearts of the people in that chamber behind me were changed on this.
Now that this is gone, that I think that now people begin to say, they'll begin to look and see who the real Mississippi is. They'll begin to see that we are more than what that flag represents. That we are people that care for each other, that are willing to work together, and are willing to go forward together. And that's what that says today.
The Senate Rules Committee approved it quickly and moved it to the Senate floor.
I respect you and I greatly appreciate the stand that many of you have taken on this issue.
More senators questioned the bill and seemingly wanted to make their place in history known.
I would ask that you, obviously, vote against this bill. Let's move it to a referendum.
Let's pass this because it's the right thing to do. We cannot continue to stumble into the backwater. We lost the war.
Let's vote today for the Mississippi of tomorrow.
I voted 37-14. The bill passes.
So we do know, of course, that the bill now moves to Governor Tate Reeves' desk. He has indicated via social media this weekend that he will sign that bill, but after checking with his staff, they say he does not plan to do so tonight.
Our Courtney Ann Jackson has been following this story from the very beginning. She joins us live from downtown Jackson with more. Courtney Ann.
Melissa, I'm watching closely out of the corner of my eyes. Actually, right now, the flags over the state capitol being taken down. First, I want to give you a little context and reminder for folks about how we got here. It was 2 months ago yesterday that the state flag was taken down for the last time outside of the Mississippi State Capitol. Just a few days prior to that, the legislature had voted for it to be changed. Now we get to today, outside of the old Capitol, they are now flying the version of the flag that could replace it. The commission to redesign the state flag had a short timeline to adopt a design that could represent Mississippi for years to come.
That Mississippians deserved the opportunity to choose between two. I also believe that it is critical that this flag passes in November.
But the law says just one design will be selected to appear on the ballot. The discussion at the final meeting centered around the new Magnolia flag and some minor changes like making the font bolder. There was no discussion of the other finalist, the Great River flag. With a vote of 8-1, the flag with the Magnolia in the center was selected. Commission Chair Judge Reuben Anderson.
We'll be on the bottom all of my lifetime, but my children and grandchildren will see us ascend. And it'll happen because of what you have done to bring this great object to the people of Mississippi to vote on.
Designer Rocky Vaughn.
I knew there was something that we could all come together and love together, and that's what happened today.
Others who followed the process closely wanted to be here to witness this historic step.
This flag makes it easier to carry out the Great Commission.
It's certainly much more inclusive. The old flag was used in the days of segregation and post-slavery as a symbol to keep certain people down, particularly my people. So I do think this is a new flag that helps to symbolize a new day for Mississippi.
A member of the Let Mississippi Vote group says they're still planning on a ballot referendum that would put 4 choices on a later ballot, including this design selected by the commission.
We want to include everyone in Mississippi and give them the opportunity to get a say-so in the flag that flies over them so that everyone truly is represented.
Now, this is a design that the Alliance for Mississippi organization, a coalition of community, civic, and business leaders, believes will move the state forward. And they say that they will work diligently over the course of the next couple of months here, the next 2 months, if you will, to encourage citizens to vote. And we will keep you updated on any steps in this process. For now, live outside the old Capitol, Courtney Ann Jackson, 3 on your side.